Okay, unfortunately today's video doesn't feature any actual video clip, just audio with images laid on top. We had a bit of a problem in post-credits, so all you're hearing is my lovely voice and a couple edits I've slapped together. Enjoy. Hey everybody, iMagic here, and I'm here today with a top 5 competitive engines. So competitive engines are about, there's a lot of decks going around right now. One of them that will be in the list obviously, because you know, you're not dumb. Brave, that's being an engine. Invoked's been an engine. A lot of Zoo engine to get into Zeus. So there's been a lot of engines over Yu-Gi-Oh's time, and right now we're very rife in more engines and builds than just actual kind of actual decks. So yeah, I thought I'd go over kind of a top 5 best engines that are in my opinion. Obviously there may be an engine or two that you may think, oh, why haven't you mentioned this? I have had a thought about a lot of them, and I'll give a little honourable mentions. But before we get into the video, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next, and hope you enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. Okay, so coming in at number 5, I'm going to give this to the Dogmatika engine. So, Shadow Invoked Dogmatika literally is a deck of just 3 engines, but the Dogmatika engine coming at number 5, strictly because it's not restricted for Shadows. Do not get me wrong, if you're playing any type of deck that doesn't then restrict you into anything, so example, Salamangreat only limiting you to then use fire monsters because of Mirage Stalio. If you're playing a deck like that, and then you can also just have a bit of free space in the extra deck, you can easily slap in the Dogmatika engine. If you're playing a ritual deck, especially so, because it can help you search that type of stuff, and it has a lot of effects if you go Dogmatika Shadow, because you will send one Akapone from a Nadir Servant or a Maximus, sending multiple stuff, and then being able to get the Schism and then having a Winder on top. But the Dogmatika engine has got a lot of places that it can be, like I said, ritual decks. Right now I'm going to just have a bit of a fun time with Dark Magician, putting a little Dogmatika engine in there by sending the Herald of Arclight, getting the Illusion of Chaos. So Dogmatika is quite a good engine. There was a lot of hype when it was first released, and mainly compared with Invoked as well and Shadow, but deck Dogmatika was kind of about for a long time. A great deck to use would be Eldritch. That was kind of had room for a lot of decks and a lot of engines. But yeah, Dogmatika is definitely a really good engine, but compared to the rest of them that to follow, definitely under the number 5 spot. So yeah, that's why it's only number 5. But let's get right into number 4. And at number 4, I'm going to give this to, just recently mentioned, Invoked. So Invoked obviously can pair with the Dogmatika, but it can also be used on its own. Invoked as an engine is a very strong and reusable engine by literally having so many, about 7 starters just in the main deck, and then having 2 extra additional cards, being the 2 invocation. Usually people don't play 3, some people play at 1, I prefer to play 2, but having 3 Alistair, 3 Meltdown or a Terraforming to kind of get straight into the combo is a really strong, powerful engine that also interacts with your opponent because it will banish from their graveyard. So if your opponent has resources in the graveyard that they want to keep there, say for example a used DPE, banish that, be able to get some of your monsters back is very powerful. Being able to, under 5 summons, get out a Omni-Negate being Mechaba is really powerful, or Guardies being a pop. Purgatrio being able to kind of like clean out your opponent's board of monsters by just constantly attacking and gaining attack. Yeah, definitely 100% Invoked is a really strong engine. Alistair itself being the kind of main card of it, being as well an honest-like effect by boosting 1,000 to a fusion card you control. Again, just really helps them stick onto the board. But it's, yeah, such a great engine, and the fact that Invocation gets you back Alistair to hand, to then on the next turn summon, get back the Invocation, use Alistair and whatever in your opponent's graveyard to kind of keep this going for several turns in like a healthy loop is really, really powerful. Compared to what's coming up next, it's a bit power crept unfortunately, but Invoked 100% deserves to be on the number 4 spot. Super powerful. The third the third engine, if I can call it a engine, because it is a kind of mishmash of 2, but I'm going to call it a engine, is Scythe and DPE. So the Scythe DPE engine has been kind of popping around a lot of meta deck strategies, being able to bring out a Dagda to set a Scythe, and then using Dagda and another monster, which you kind of design the combo to go towards, to then go into DPE, to then pop the Scythe in your opponent's turn, so you kind of lock them out from the extra deck, which is very crucial. Obviously, it's part of the whole combo which makes the based deck, which, don't get me started, is incredibly powerful. But yeah, just Scythe and DPE can be also brought out with other engines. So I have seen Scrap be able to do it in Dino. Because Dino has so many consistent ways to summon monsters, add the Scrap engine to it, and then it's very easy to kind of get the Scythe DPE lock with extra UCC, for example. So yeah, that's one way to do it. There's a whole Cyburst engine of kind of any one of your 9 Cyburst monsters, being Cyburst Gadget, Dot Scaper, Firewall, the Firewall level 4 2000 defense, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, all of these kind of monsters are designed to kind of just summon themselves out, link summon into a Link Devotee, bring themselves back, go to Disciple, or whichever way. Tribute to then get 2 tokens, and then you have your 3 monsters to kind of go into that loop, and that's all from one normal summon of a Cyburst monster. So it's not just 9 Cyburst monsters, it can then also be an extra 3 copies of Signet Mining to your searching. But yeah, it's a very consistent way to kind of go into one into the other. It's very powerful, the fact that it can then stop your opponent, like I said, by just stopping them completely from their extra deck, which can kill so many opponents. And then having a reoccurring DPE on top of that just kind of doesn't help. You could possibly, I know a lot of decks can try and loop the Scythe, so it'll keep coming back, which is, again, is very powerful. But yeah, Scythe DPE, it's a meta breaker. All of the next ones I'm about to talk about are meta defining, and they just kind of destroys everyone that kind of comes in contact with it. It does take sometimes a lot of requirements to get to be able to get a Dagda, and then afterwards get the Predaplant, Verta Anaconda, and not have them interacted with can be kind of crucial. There are ways around that, which I've seen 60 card Eldritch decks that feature all this in do amazingly. But yeah, it is on paper, without hand traps in a vacuum, a very, very powerful strategy. But it does need to be backed up by sometimes another deck or another engine, or just other plays as well. But yeah, Scythe DPE, 100% incredible powerful deck. Engine, super powerful, would recommend, but definitely worthy of the number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2, and this is quite a hefty engine, but it is incredibly powerful, and if you play your cards right, you can be left on an amazing board. And it's the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon engine. So this is going in with the Despot, with Halki Fibrax, getting onto the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon, getting out your 3 tokens, then just synchro climbing like mad, sometimes bringing out a Colt Wing to then get more tokens on top, being able to end on multiple Omni Negates, and it is very, very strong. And with E-Telly going to 3 and the introduction of Punk, this means that it is a 1-card combo, which can make you end on very, very powerful boards. There are several decks that can kind of facilitate this very hefty engine, being Virtual World with the Punk engine can very, very strongly take on this massive engine, extra deck wise, and it just gets you a lot on board as well. When I say massive, it's not just because of the cards it requires, because on paper it isn't actually that many. It might take up quite a lot of your extra deck slot, but 100% main deck, yeah, unless you're obviously using the Punk engine on top of that, but then that's an extra engine on top, so you can't complain there. But yeah, it's a very, very strong, powerful engine that also interacts before you do your main combos. You're usually going to do this if you're using it in the Tenyi Sword Soul build where people are doing this, or you're using it in Punk Virtual World. It means that you're doing all of these plays before you even see your main plays, before you even start doing your Sword Soul plays. You can do this with the Tenyi stuff before you start doing any of your virtual plays. This is just an E-Telly. After that, then you can maybe use your normal summon even, and then special summon. And like I said, it's 1-2 cards mainly to kind of get this ball rolling. But yeah, it's incredibly powerful, and it doesn't really strongly. It's a really good bait, you know, to stop. Like, if your opponent will have to sometimes use multiple hand traps to get in the way, or if they don't, what it leaves you with is incredibly powerful. And it would be lower on the list because
It would be lower on the list, being maybe 4 or 5, if it weren't for the fact that now with new cards, it's 1 card. With 1 E-Telly for the whole Punk into Zetamin, get Foxy Toon. This is open in hand, so yes, I understand Foxy Toon needs to discard an extra one, so it's a card plus 1 extra discard. But yeah, get rid of that, put down the Spider. Spider can get you the trap because you might use that for later if you're playing Virtual World. But yeah, then go into Halki Firebrax, get a Despot, and it continues on like that. I'm not going to go through the whole combo, but the fact that is all from an E-Telly plus a discard is incredibly broken. And that's why it's 100% the number 2 spot. Strictly because it baits out a lot of hand traps that could cause you problems. You can do all of this before you even go to use your any like main deck stuff, and it's 1 card combo. 100% this number 2 spot. Okay guys, and now going into the number 1 spot, well worth it, 100%, you know, amazing engine that a lot of people are splashing in. What it ends you on is amazing, it helps you facilitate everything, and we are talking about Zodiac. Now we're talking about Brave, Adventure, whatever you want to call it. This is amazing as an Adventure or Brave starter. Just get it all going, get out an Omni Negate, which is what is kind of causing a lot of decks to kind of come up and become meta decks, because they weren't guaranteed an Omni Negate, or they had to jump through so many hoops to get there. Being able to just start off your combos by just slapping down the right Amazemir and then get the whole combo going, end in an Omni Negate, and then you can feel free to then do your normal combos. It's absolutely a broken, incredible price tag, do not get me wrong, but 100% worth it. This has got incredibly high representation. You know, it's giving so many decks opportunities to actually be kind of competitive, and that's the kind of the silver lining I'm taking from this incredibly expensive engine. Do not get me wrong, having to now deal with an Omni Negate before you can even attempt to get at your opponent's effects, because they may have a Call by the Grave or a Crossout Designator, but now they have an Omni Negate as well to definitely make sure that they are getting everything they want. Means that lower tier decks, like the best example I can talk about is I always forget the name of it. Okay, Prank Kids. Prank Kids are doing incredibly well. And do not get me wrong, they were doing very well prior. But now they have a Brave engine before they slap down any kind of Prank Kid plays. Before they get any of the combos going, they have an Omni Negate to kind of protect themselves from hand traps, which is what they needed. But all in general as well, it's a very good deck. The fact they can gain life points and burn you, so in a competitive fashion, that gets great for time by gaining itself life points or burning you for something. Having multiple board wipes in 1 turn, plus an Omni Negate, it is incredibly broken, and then they can kind of recycle a lot of it back. That's incredible. And this would not have been kind of in the level it is now with the current meta if it weren't for Brave or Adventure, whatever you want to call it. So, damn. 100% worthy of the 100% spot, number 1 spot. Do I wish it was cheaper? Yes. But do you have to pay to play in this game? Yes. There's nothing we can do about that, guys, but I 100% believe that these are kind of the top 5 engines. I will give a little shout out to Scrap. The whole Scrap engine is kind of good, because in Dino it can make you end on quite a lot of plays. For me personally, I use it to facilitate the Scythe DPE engine itself. A lot of people go into something like a Dolka or a Lagia, and maybe a Appaloosa, so multiple negates there. I know Orcust used it, don't get me wrong, it's very fragile in Orcust, because Orcust is a very fragile deck, but Orcust being able to end on a Winder, a couple negates, Dingirsu, and just being able to kind of keep a Winder on board because of the whole Scrap line, and an Appaloosa as well, very, very broken, so amazing like I said. But yeah, 100% worth an honourable mention, but Scrap just isn't doing anything big enough. Dino's a rogue deck. I love Dino, don't get me wrong, it's one of the decks I've learned to play, and I love the deck, and I really took on board the Scrap engine. But yeah, Scrap really isn't doing enough right now. Same with Zodiac. I know I joked about it a second ago. Zodiac, again, was a brilliant engine just to turbo out a Zeus, but apart from that, that's all it was. Which is a shame, because I do like a Zodiac engine. Yeah, just in general, just kind of there are a lot of good engines about. I did mention Punk. Obviously, that'll be paired with the Mecha Phantom Beast of Aurodon because it helps it get to the 1-card combo. But Punk itself is just a good little mini engine. There are a lot of good engines right there, guys, but there are the top tier ones, which are the ones I listed here. But I hope everyone enjoyed. Comment down below what you want to see next time. Any other top 5 videos, deck profiles, just meta analysis, hand trap analysis. Yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, share the video. Peace.